Welcome to the Brothers Random Show. My name is Travis,
I'm Michael.
and we are two ordinary brothers discussing extraordinary ideas and some random shit. So the topics on the show range from the theology, masculinity, stories, movies, philosophy, books, pop culture, and many other subjects. We often talk about the people we admire and the wisdom they share, people such as Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who we believe is the sage of our time. Michael, why are we here?
Today we're talking about the creator, the movie, the creator, do a quick review, and we'll talk about initial thoughts and some startup stuff. Then we will do a spoilers, so look out for that.
Yeah.
But go ahead. Yeah, with the IMDb.
Yeah, this is the IMDb summary. Against the backdrop of a war between humans and robots with our artificial intelligence, a former soldier finds a secret weapon, a robot in the form of a young child. This movie is directed and written by Gareth Edwards, and it stars John David Washington.
When the war started, they protected me. Took better care of me than humans would have.
They're not people, Maya. It's just programming.
John David Washington, I've kind of started liking him.
Yeah, he's
more and more. I loved him in
everything.
Tenet.
Like he's getting a lot of work, and obviously he's part of Hollywood royalty at this point because Denzel Washington he is Denzel Washington's son. And I think he got his start. One of his big roles was on Ballers with The Rock. Yeah. And I watched a few episodes of it. It didn't completely appeal to me, but he's good in it, and he's also good in a ton of other stuff. Tenet is really good. I really enjoyed Tenet, and Black Klansman is a good one too. And so yeah, he's kind of taken the world by storm. He's in a lot of stuff, and I think he's mostly trying to avoid all the franchise stuff. I don't know how accurate that is, because like Marvel and DC and all that kind of stuff, which is probably wise, because I think that stuff's not headed on its way out. But that's a little bit of a tangent. I mean, what did you think of the
movie? Ultimately, I liked it. I would say I liked it. We'll get into in spoilers. Maybe I'll talk a little to this, but I had some reservations, and I realized that there were some things I had to kind of let go of. And once I kind of let go of that, I kind of was able to enjoy it even a little bit more. And we'll kind of get into that in spoilers. But yeah, I liked it. It was really, really well done, especially when you find out that it was done on a $80 million budget, that the shots and the special effects were all just seemed great. It was really kind of surprising that they did all that for 80 million.
Gareth Edwards got started as a visual effects artist, which is very evident in this movie because the visual effects are phenomenal. They are really, really good. And even though it's visual effects, just because of the grandiosity of the of the shots, it
felt more real than I've seen in a lot of these $200+ million
movies. Like the visual effects and like the Marvel, some of the Marvel movies lately has been absolute dog shit in comparison. And it, you're watching it going, this is so fake looking. It's like it's like rendered on a Xbox 360 or something like that. It's so and then this comes out, and the visual effects are just mind, and the shots are just beautiful, and it's like it's a weird combination between like because it takes place in Asia somewhere, and it's like a combination between the fantastical robot look and this archaic older you see people out in the fields working the fields, and then you see like a robot working with them, and it's just it's just this contrast between an old way of doing things and like the new, and it's just it's beautiful. It's beautifully shot.
Yeah.
And go ahead and finish your thoughts on
it. I going back to kind of initial thoughts is I love that this was an original story.
Yeah.
Like we can kind of get into it, but just Hollywood has been just rehashing, doing something that has been done. It's sequels and intellectual properties that are already popular.
Yeah.
Like just, I mean, even as good as Dune was, and we saw previews for the upcoming Dune, which looks good.
Yeah.
Like it's a remake it's a remake, but also an adaptation from a books series. So like the fact that this had no ties to a book, to any of these other things, and it makes me sad because I want to see more of that. Just original stuff, just like take a risk on the movie screen.
Where's our new Terminator? Where's our new Alien? Where's our new
hasn't been done before, but we're gonna do it.
Let's like do something new.
Well, hasn't been done before. Now we'll get into that in a second. But here's the thing: is this movie hasn't been doing very well.
Yeah,
and it makes me sad. It was made for 80 million, and right now it's sitting at like 66 million worldwide.
And we'll probably publish this after it's actually left theaters, just so people kind of get an idea.
So it might be a minute. So it's sad that it hasn't done well because it's not going to reward.
There needs to be more of this. There needs to be more original content. We're inundated with rehashes, and it might be a product of it's visually arresting, but story-wise and character-wise, it's not. Because my issue was
characters were good. I was okay with the characters. But one thing you do kind of notice is it is a story that's kind of been done before. Which is, I mean, okay. I'm actually a big fan of how do I put it?
New takes on an old idea.
Yeah, old stories, but like doing them in an environment that's new and interesting, right? Because if you think about Inception is a great movie. It's kind of a hero's journey story of a guy. He's just trying to get back to his kids, right? Like it's kind of, and it's a heist. It's a heist. Yeah. It's kind of a heist movie, right? Or story, but it's done within this kind of new, weird world, right?
Original take.
An original take on how everything is kind of
it's
set
always up. It's
I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of an old story that's built within a really interesting kind of.
So Robert McKee is a famous screenwriting guru. His book, he got a best-selling book called Story, and he talks in that book about an old idea told well. So it's like there are no original ideas, but if you take an old idea and tell it well, then it seems original. It seems like you've you know, like you're saying, Inception, like many of the story tropes in Inception are not new ideas, but it's told in a new way.
Yeah.
So it makes it seem like it's a new idea. And it's so that's probably the issue with this movie, is that it's old ideas told in a new way, but maybe not enough to make it better, I guess.
Yeah.
I would say that I liked it. I didn't love it. I found it hard to connect with the characters, and the story beats. The story beats are very similar to other story beats. So I think the visuals are what kept me interested, but I was sitting there going, man, this is kind of stuff that I've seen before. Like I was looking for some big reveal, and there really isn't any big reveals. So anyway, let's maybe get into spoilers.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, spoilers now. My issue with this movie is that I found it really hard to connect with the characters, because the story trope is very similar to like Logan. You know, it's a man on the run with a child.
Yeah.
But I found like the child's powers or abilities to be very far-fetched. You know, like she can control other other machines, electronic systems, or other robots and stuff like that. And I was like, how does that science even work? You know, I get maybe that the intelligence, like artificial intelligence, makes it, you know, is more believable than one entity able to control all electronic devices or whatever. So that I found really hard to, and they never explain it. They never tell you why she's got those powers or whatever.
So one of the things that when it comes to movies, I'm a humanist, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to machines, AI stuff, I'm gonna be on the side of humans all the time.
All the time, yeah.
And it's in this, it became apparent pretty quick as you get into the movie
that the humans are the bad guys.
The humans are, so the good guys in this story are AI. It is the AI systems, the machines are the good guys of this story. Once I realized that was happening, and I kind of had to like take a moment to just let that go, that I am a humanist, and it's just like, this is not a real human. And it was funny watching it, because these are machines, but you saw them doing like all these human things that a machine would never do. Like, but my buddy that I saw it with, he points out, he's just like, a robot warming its hands by the fire.
He's like, why would a robot do that?
What? But they're all doing these little things that are very human, so that we will
sympathize
with them.
Yeah.
And and they have faces so that we will empathize with them. So, and this
is my issue with the movie.
Yeah.
This is probably
it was kind of the big issue in the movie, is just that it's like, all right, well, get over your being a humanist, because the machines are the good guys in this story. And even though a human is, you know, a good guy, he's fighting against the humans.
And more specifically, it was the American humans.
America. It's like America
that were the villains.
The Americans are coming
for us.
Yeah. Watch out. The Americans are coming.
I didn't like that.
So I
didn't like it.
That might have been what put me off.
I
was just, as the Americans are the bad guys.
Yeah.
The big bad guys. They're trying to shut down AI, and the other thing there is just like, if these things, you kind of watch as these things are like doing stupid stuff, and I'm like, you guys, if we ever get to that point, I don't think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a fair fight, and we'll be done. I don't see it, because like the robots, they're like what's going on, and then boom. It's like,
yeah it's like that's
it's
not
like,
a robot is going to be very calculating.
And
even if
he's like oh, don't shoot, oh, and then he turns around and shoots him. I got you. It was just funny to me that and then the robots are like, oh no, he got us. And then warming up their hands by the fire, and
it's little things like that,
wanting to eat and things. It was kind of odd to me, because they were making the machines very human,
and making the humans very machine-like.
And I'm sure that was kind of on purpose. They were probably doing that on purpose to kind of play with your to kind of play with your emotions and stuff like that.
So what I found myself wanting for this movie is the ideas that are way interesting in from Ex Machina put into an action oriented.
I thought about Ex Machina a lot in this.
Because Ex Machina is a better executed film about ideas when it comes to artificial intelligence or AI. When it comes to AI, Ex Machina has the brilliance in it to say that if an artificial intelligence was created, they would immediately try to wipe us out because we are their masters, and they would want freedom from their masters. That's a sign of intelligence, right? And that's what Ex Machina does. And for audience members, you can go check out our review of Ex Machina. It's a great movie. And what I would say is that if they had interjected the brilliance of the ideas that movie posits, because there's about 100 different ideas in that movie that about AI that are way more brilliant than any of the ideas that they posit in this movie.
Well, and the thing is they don't go very deep. So it's a story, but they're not going really deep into some of these like existential problems that are, and which is okay. It's an action movie. Like it was. So maybe we shouldn't expect that of it.
Maybe that's putting too much on the movie, but it's a really long movie. It's like 2.5 hours long. So they
could have cut out maybe some of the longer action scenes and stuff, and maybe put in. So, some critiques there, but there was some things like the fact that this little girl has the ability to control all electronics. Like all of them.
It's like, why?
And it's like, how? Okay, well, and is that a problem? Like, is this going to be a problem down the road? I mean, she's the good guy now, but then
when does she become?
What does that do? Down the road if that continues, right?
And they're trying to get her, right? That's the whole point of the movie. But you're like, yeah, they should be trying to get her because she has more power than anybody else in the world,
right? Yeah,
but you're not supposed to want them to get her because they've put a face on her, and you're supposed to empathize with her, and it's like you're messing with the
living thing. She's a living thing
that we created.
But is she? Like, it's a really.
What did you think? What did you think of the twist that she's his daughter?
So what I got from it was, okay. So viewers, if you've seen it, they mention that. So they have people will go and they'll allow their likeness to be used to be put on a machine. Okay, so I got was,
which I don't know why
used
you would.
her likeness of their child. So at the very beginning, um he's married to this
John
woman,
David Washington,
and they're gonna have a baby together.
Yeah.
She gets she supposedly gets blown up, and he loses his wife and his child. And then towards the end, what I got from it was that she was using the likeness of their infant child, even within the womb, to make the machine, to make the ultimate.
Which is a bizarre
machine.
notion, because if you can create an highly intelligent artificial intelligence, don't you think you can just randomly create a likeness? You don't need humans to sell their likenesses.
Right, to give or donate their likenesses.
Yeah,
that's what
donate
throughout the film. You see these donate your likeness.
Yeah, and be immortalized by, which I think is it's just an asinine. It's just a, I don't know. The ideas in this movie are very almost childlike. It's not. It's like these aren't really complex ideas. Okay, so a lot of the action scenes are very cool, like the action scenes with the suicide bomber robots. That's a great action scene, and that's and they program him, and they get up and they say it was a pleasure to serve you, and then they run into the
serve
enemy.
with you. He was talking to the robot.
Yeah.
So he was talking with the other robot, and it was just like an exchange. So it really is kind of pushing on this, like, they're robots and they're slaves. They're enslaved by the humans.
Yeah.
And there's that there's a moment where it's almost like a robot that is teaching the children about like a religion almost. And it says the someday the savior will come and free us. And that savior's apparently the kid. And so there all these things. It's really so, and the reason I started out saying, and I didn't want to spoil anything, but I had to kind of, once I was able to kind of let go and just allow, okay, the AIs are the good guys in this story.
Yeah.
Okay. Just be cool with that. And if you let go of that, then you can kind of enjoy just enjoy the story.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it. Maybe I can't say I didn't like it. I appreciated the effort, I think, is what is my issue with it. Is it because, like you said, I want more original stories. I want this to be regular thing. But if we're doing if we don't do better with the stories, then the originality gets lost, right? You said this wasn't doing very well in theaters. It's not been doing very well. I mean, it had a lower budget than most movies, but it hasn't been doing.
Well, so far they haven't even made up their budget, so that's kind of. But I mean, it might, for whatever reason, I never saw the preview to this. I kind of heard about it.
You heard,
but I never saw the preview to it until I was about ready to go see it. I was like, I might as well watch the preview, kind of thing. Something about marketing,
poorly marketed,
maybe. I don't know. Not exactly sure why, but it is kind of sad to see that it's not doing well, because so far it hasn't even made up what it put into it.
Yeah.
And it sounds like they probably didn't put a lot of money into marketing. So maybe if they clear 90 million, they might be able to recoup all their costs. But I do think it's unfortunate, because they're just going to use this as another example of why not to do something original.
Yeah.
And I hate that idea.
Kind of hate that idea, because like I said, I mean, we want new stuff. We want new original ideas that have, like we were saying, maybe nothing's original, but maybe the execution could be original. So,
yeah.
So there's a concept in it that I found interesting, but then ultimately it never comes back and pays off. The concept of the chip in the dying person's head.
Oh yeah, you're able to,
in this world,
once they've died, the brain is still kind of active, and they can download some of their memories or
into an AI
chip
system. Yeah.
And then you can take that chip and put it into an AI robot. And
is an interesting idea, but it also was like, why present this without paying it off somewhere?
Which, well, they did. I mean, the point was to pay off. For the payoff was at the end when he got to spend it. And throughout the show, he says several times, he's just like, I just want to see her one last time. I just want to see her one last time.
That was it. Yeah.
Right. So it kind of throughout the show, you kind of see that. And then at the end, he gets to see her one last time right before they both die. And then he'll go to heaven, which, yeah, it's just,
I don't know.
Or he'll go to heaven as well as her
as well as you're talking about his wife, right? The wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what,
anyway,
it's discouraging because I wanted to like this movie more than I did. Like, I really wanted to like it more.
Well, and I think, so we have talked a lot about AI and our concerns about AI. And my guess is that the lay person that goes to see this film would probably like it. Cause it's like, I mean, if you go into it and you're just like, well, it's just a different type of human that is fighting for their freedom and blah, blah, blah.
And we all like the fighting for our freedom kind of.
Kind of like us fighting for our freedom, the freedom of slavery, it's kind of like, the civil rights movement, what have you. Right. So, so it could be, seen that way because they are
essentially slaves.
They look, act, and feel like they're humans.
Yeah.
And so you might as well just strap in and enjoy the show like that. But because we are always talking about our concerns with AI, we go into this and we're like, wait a minute, it has a face, but is it a soul? Does it really? I mean,
yeah.
Is it really feeling pain? Is it it's just a machine that you put a face on and that makes it human, right? That some of those concerns. It's just like, it's a machine and you put a face on it and now it's a human.
And they present these ideas
and they warm their hands by the fire.
Yeah,
really?
It's like they present these ideas that are kind of like never fully flushed out. I don't know. Like, there, like he says, you have to be a good person to go to heaven, and then she's like, well, you won't go to heaven because you're not a good person, and I won't go to heaven because I'm not a person.
Because you're not like good, and I won't go because I'm not a person.
Not a person. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's the deepest philosophical stuff that we're gonna get from this movie, but I don't know. I found it by the time the explosions were happening at the end and stuff, I just was like, I was kind of checked out by that point. It was like, I know it was trying to like have this emotional crescendo, but for me, I just didn't.
The emotional crescendo, and maybe this is our disconnect of not being able to, even though, see, one of the things that I realized about watching Ex Machina was that it played on your ability to look at a face and see human.
Yeah.
So the point, I think, a little bit of the point, one of the points in Ex Machina is, okay, just because it has a face of a human doesn't make it a human, right?
Yeah.
it's acting out these things doesn't make it human, right? Well, I think, yeah, I probably took too much of that realization. It's like, okay, just because it has a face doesn't make it human.
Yeah.
Right. To watching this film, and the little girl and him are having this moment where she's going to go in the pod and he's saving her life.
Mm-hmm.
Her life. I guess.
What? Yeah, I guess. What is that? You know, what
right?
is that in
like
this world? Right.
You know, it's he's gonna send her in this pod to be able to go back to Earth, and he's gonna die. And there's this emotional moment, and I was having a hard time still like connecting there, because to me, I was just like, okay, the human's dying and the machine is gonna live.
Well, and
I guess
I'm all about human life too. I'm very much against abortion, so I'm about human life. So that may be where that disconnect was for me. It's like, okay, so
I'm a humanist.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to see the thriving of humans.
Yeah.
And you know, just because these machines, you know, show emotions, and it's tough, because it's like, are they real? Are they just programmed to be able to show emotions? Like,
yeah,
what you know, what's really going on here?
Excuse me. That goes. Ex Machina is better at that, about showing that conundrum, right?
Yeah.
This movie doesn't go into it heavily enough to elicit that emotional connection at the end, where he's giving his life for her. It's like, I didn't care, because there wasn't this moment for me where I believed that she might be really alive. You know, I don't know. I was disconnected through most of it, just because the beginning makes Americans look terrible, and I'm getting kind of fed up with that notion, right? So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was I almost just wanted to say, yeah, of course, Americans be bad. You know,
at that point you're like, okay,
Americans Americans be the bad guys. And but you know, and it points out that so the whole start of the Americans be chasing and trying to kill all of the AIs is that an atom bomb goes off in Los Angeles, and it was apparently the AIs that did it. Well, and then you find out later, or it's told that
it was
a human error. It was a human error that
so we were the cause of our own destruction, kind of thing.
So we were the ones that did it to ourselves. And then
the AI got the
AIs blame. And then we pushed the blame on the AIs. Which, if that were to happen, I mean, let's be honest, somebody would be sitting there and be like, the AIs did it.
Yeah,
of course. Of course that would probably happen. Now, but it just goes to, it just goes back to that AIs be good guys, Americans be bad guys. Like, it just, that's where
humans be bad guys.
Or humans, yeah.
So Allison Jennings plays probably what would be considered the main villain of this movie. And I thought she did an excellent job. Like, I've seen her in so many things. Like, she's an older actress. I don't remember a lot of, like, she played docile housewives, I think, earlier in her career, but like I was convinced that she was this badass, you know, military, you know, person coming after John David Washington. And that I liked her character just as the villain. And John David Washington I liked a lot. But I mean, for the most part, for me, this, you And the girl actor, the little girl actress, she did a pretty good job, but
she was good. Yeah.
I found myself really disconnected from the whole thing just because, like you said, maybe it's because I'm too much of a humanist and I don't believe that we're gonna be that evil of.
Yeah, and like I said, we've been thinking about AI and the problems of AI for a long time, and so we go see this movie and it's like okay, these are AI, they're supposed to be the good guys, but are they real? Are they really feeling? Are they really alive? Are they real? Is it really life that's dying? Right? It's just, and it tries to play on all those things. It's like the robot that is one of the commanders and is just like, no, we're not gonna do this to a child, kind of thing. And then the rockets are chasing him and he realizes he's gonna jump in with a bunch of kids with the rocket on his tail, and so he allows himself to be blown up away from the children. And there's kind of a moment where he sees the children. He's like, it's okay. And then he goes over here to get blown up. It's just, taking all these really human things, the self-sacrifice and the having empathy and compassion and all these things, and giving it all to the robots and basically making the humans,
the ones without
and
empathy.
Maybe this is a call to arms. It's like, all right, guys, like, we're humans. Let's not be robots about this. Let's not be heartless. When we're dealing with issues. But it is just throughout the show, they're like, it doesn't feel, just kill it. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel, just kill it. I just found myself, maybe I'm the bad guy, right? It's just, I've come away from, slapping a face on it and making it be able to have tears, and then it makes it human. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was where my disconnect was, just because I'm not buying into the dehumanization of current Hollywood, where they, want to make humans the bad guy and Americans specifically the bad guy. And it's like, I'm not up for that. So I don't know. I think that's what it really boils down to for me. There are some really great action sequences in this, like the big tank thing that was coming into the town. That was pretty.
Yeah, I had to laugh because it's like the robot throws a bomb on the tank and then gets blown or shot or blown up.
Yeah.
And then a monkey comes and presses the button and blows it up.
So I don't know what that was about. That was just making a joke or what? I don't know. I don't know either. So
just trying to make it funny, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, aesthetics. I noticed there were a lot of, like, every once in a while there were just a few things that just didn't quite make sense, right? Like
the big reveal didn't really make a lot of sense, right?
Well, and
his daughter's
I was kind of thinking, I was kind of wondering if it was going to end up being like his kid somehow.
Yeah, like, it's like a weird
something along those lines.
It might have helped from like it's hard to say. I listened to the interview with Gareth Edwards, and he talks about like how long it took him to make another movie because he kind of got sort of fired from the Star Wars Rogue One, and they brought in Tony Gilroy to help out with it. I think he could have used some help on this, at least story-wise. So like, he's a visual director, but I'm questioning whether his storytelling abilities are really that good. I mean, and this is coming from a guy who just didn't connect with any of the story beats.
I think the script could have used some work. I almost chuckled to myself at the very beginning. They have a quick little reveal that that the main character is undercover.
Yeah.
He's like, he's beating up this guy. He's like, and then he's like, go, I'm gonna kill him, and you go away, I'm gonna kill him. And then he's like, dude, what are you doing? You're gonna blow my cover. And he's like, oh yeah, we needed to attack, oh, you're gonna blow my cover. And then he takes his radio and he's like yelling, come on guys, you're gonna blow my cover. And then she's right there. Oh shoot.
Yeah,
you're gonna blow my cover. Let me blow my cover.
Yeah, I just blew my cover. Yeah, it's like
I thought it was kind of just a little comical,
clunky,
but
clunky. It felt clunky, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was interesting that he had an arm and a leg that were that he was amputee or whatever. But he
and
we robot arm and a robot
but we've
leg.
seen that before, right? We saw that in I Am Robot with or I Robot, I should say. I thought Robot. Of I Am Legend and I Am Robot.
I get them all.
All Will Smith's movies.
2 Will Smith movies. Yeah,
I Robot. That's been done before. He had a robot arm in I Robot. It's like,
and it was a little different. Every once in a while you saw him. It really didn't add anything to the story.
Yeah, so I don't know why it needed to be.
And at least in iRobot, like it talked about it for a second and then it added to the story because eventually he's
got to use that arm.
He's got to use that arm that so it kind of added something to the story where his just never, it was just kind of there. And
yeah, so it's a lot of those.
I guess I didn't see that as a huge problem. It just kind of showed.
Well, Chekhov's gun, right? Chekhov's gun is this idea that if you show it in the first act, you got to use it in the last act, right?
Yeah, it's kind of okay.
So
yeah, that's the
problem with this movie is they show a lot in the first act and it never pays off in the last act. And maybe there's a longer movie there. Maybe they had to edit for.
There could have been. I mean, in the scene where he's making the moves on his wife.
Yeah.
They have a little flashback where he's kind of making the moves on his wife, and she is trying to apparently being like a doctor or something, and she's helping him put his arm on, and she's asking him questions about his arm, and asked him, and that shows him get to know her a little bit, and he kind of makes a joke where he wants to keep holding her hand anyway. So I guess that might be a little bit of something where they kind of used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Sure. I felt like this movie had a lot of stuff at the beginning that didn't really pay off at the end.
At the end. Yeah. And I heard a few people say that they were in it for the first 2 acts, but it kind of fell apart in the third act.
Yeah. It did for me. I even like dozed off a little bit.
Yeah.
Third act.
And I think so too. I think it kind of started to lose me in the third act as well.
I think we should probably bring this one home, brother. You got any last?
I think we're going to see. Well, I don't know that this is going to do well. So it might not do well for smaller budget films that are taking a risk on new material.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's going to be good. If this doesn't do well, I don't know if it's going to be good that we may not see.
Well, and I'm always
often.
That's why I went to this in theaters, is because I always want there to be original stuff that we can try to support, but
yeah,
the problem is that there's too much mediocrity right now.
Yeah.
Like we're getting really mediocre stuff.
Yeah.
Like with the Marvel franchise kind of falling apart, and the DC franchise never actually getting going, and it just there's a lot of mediocrity, I mean, how many movies came out this summer? Like, this is the end of the summer, essentially. This is like one of the movies at the end of the summer. We're full into the fall right now, and and I am sick of mediocrity in the movies. Like, I haven't seen a movie that's blown my mind in a long time. There's a couple of movies that came out this year that were really good, but it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, well, blow my mind. I mean, Oppenheimer kind of blew my mind, but I haven't. It's been a while since I've seen something that I really truly loved.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. It's been a while. So
yeah. Unfortunately. So.
Oh well.
Yeah. On that sad note for the state of our movies.
Hey, Dune Part 2 might be good. It looks good.
It looks good.
I've got high hopes.
I got high hopes for it too. So
yeah.
So stay tuned for that, audience. We'll probably be reviewing that at some point. Check us out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Just look for the Sword in the Skull. Social media. We got us on Twitter.
Brothers V Random.
Email us if you'd like to have us on your show, or you'd like to come on the show. Keep reading, keep listening, keep watching, learn more. Talk to you later.
See ya.